The reason why I want to make sure we do this call again is for reasons that now we're going into 2021, right? And one of the things that matters most moving forward into 2021 is certainty, right? Alex Morton has talked about it. John Guaman has talked about it. Mike and Tim have talked about it, right? It's unapologetic confidence. You have to be unapologetically confident in what it is that you're doing. You guys have access to two of the largest industries in the entire world that combined have created more millionaires and billionaires than anybody out there. The reason I played that video for you guys was because I want you guys to hear that it's not about this training is called Exactly What to Say. And yes, there are a lot of sexy phrases that we can incorporate into our speech, but it's not about what you say, it's how you say it, right? So if you guys that were on the Jordan Belfort training, I know Ivana was out here not too long ago, and she was talking to me about she's doing straight line persuasion. Sales is, a lot of people think sales is bad, but guys, Mike did a very amazing training that I wish I would have heard years ago on why people buy, right? But you still have to know how to sell. That's why you leverage your upline or your mentor to do an opportunity call for you. If you're not P1000 or above, it's not because you can't do the presentation. It's because there are things that they know how to say because of practice that they can say a bit sexier. And that's the purpose of this training, is giving you guys a set of tools, right? A set of words that you guys can use in your everyday speech or during your presentations that'll help you elevate your game, right? And the reason I played Grant Cardone was because you guys literally saw him just call somebody up on the phone and close a $40,000 deal, right? And for less than 4 minutes. We're pitching somebody a $175 product. He sells his $1,800 a month subscriptions to businesses, right? He can call them up and just hit them up. And the only difference between him and everybody else here is experience, time, and the amount of calls and customers that he's talked to, right? And it's not just about selling, but taking care of that customer once you're already there. And a few things that I want to point out to you guys, right? Number one is you have to be an expert in your field with this set of words, right? You have to be an expert in your field. You have to know what you're talking about. You can't BS people through this information. Number two, you have to be enthusiastic as hell. And number three, you have to be sharp as a tack. Now, if you're like, man, where have I heard this? It's because there have been many people that have been talking about it over the last several months, right? Jordan Belfort himself did a special training on straight line persuasion, which in theory is the first 4 seconds. You have to be those things. And Bryce Thompson did a call not too long ago, maybe less than 2-3 weeks ago, where he talked about why would somebody join your business versus somebody else's business. It's because of the enthusiasm, the passion, the energy that they bring, the fact that they're an expert in their field and they're sharp. Right? They're sharp. They know what they're talking about, right? They posture up. So I'm going to give you guys all combined between Nancy and I, we're going to give you guys 24 set of words, right? 14 set of words that are going to help you guys elevate your game, right? Now, the first set of words, so I want you guys to make a bullet point where I'm starting with the number one. First set of words is going to be, I'm not sure if it's for you, but. I'm not sure if it's for you, but I'm going to give you guys a personal story here. I just saw his face. That's so funny. He literally just popped in the Zoom call like this, right? Nixon Tefis, I was coaching him. He's like, man, I've hit up so many people. He's like, I sent a lot of messages out and I'm just getting kind of frustrated. I'm sorry to throw him under the bus, but I know he'd appreciate, he's a very passionate soul about helping. So I'm sure if you guys reach out to him, he can give you his secrets, but he said, I'm just getting kind of frustrated on not being able to get people to reply to me. And I said, okay, what it is that you're doing. We talked about what it is that he was doing. And I was like, listen, dude, just add in a few sexy words to everything that you're saying. And one of them being, I'm not sure if it's for you, but because here's the thing, right? If you're doing something exclusive and you want to bring other people in it, you want to give them the sense that they're may or may not be worthy to do it, right? It's like when you play a new game, right? You want to be picked first. You want to be picked last. It's fear of loss. And so when you use the words, I'm not sure if it's for you, but, right? All they hear is after but, right? They hear, I'm not sure if it's for you. And then they hear but. And then the reason why it may not be for them, right? Because they want to object to that. They want to be like, it is for me. This is something that I want to do. So when you go and talk to people and speak to people, right? Say, this is what I personally say when I go and expand. I learned this, took things here and there, but the concept came from Matt Rosa. He says, listen, dude, I'm expanding a project that I've been working on for the last 2.5 years. And I want to work with like-minded individuals like you. I'm not sure if it's for you, but it's something that I would like to have a conversation with you about. When are you free? Right? I'm not sure if it's for you. I'm expanding a project that I've been working on over the last 2.5 years. Reason why you're doing it, and I'm not sure if it's for you. Because why? Now you told them the reason why you're reaching out to them, and you told them I'm not sure if it's for you. Guess what they're going to want to do? They're going to want to be like, dang, that is for me. Right now, I'm going to tag team here with one of my favorite people to speak with, because if I was to walk into a business office and negotiate $1 million+ deal, I would want to have Nancy with me right then and there, because she postures up. She walks into a room and she's like, let's go. I know I'm here. I'm ready. Right. And she says things with confidence. So the fact that she's incorporating these sexy phrases into her vocabulary, it's not just about saying the words, it's about the posture that she uses when she speaks, when she does op calls. I started pitching the Elite package because I heard Nancy pitch the Elite package. Not because, obviously it gets you more volume, it's better, more beneficial, all the other reasons, right? But I heard Nancy do it. I was like, dang, I can do it too. And what was better is I heard Nancy close on an Elite package. And I was like, all right, I can do it too. Right. So I'm going to pass it off to her for her to throw the next sexy phrase at you guys. So number 2.
Lit. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite trainings. And it's always a tag team between Armando and I, because we just know the vibe. So appreciate you guys for being on here. Thank you, Armando, for opening it up. The second set of words, and again, guys, this is coming from the book, Exactly What to Say. You can find it on Audible. You can find it on Amazon, anywhere, right? I'll drop the link in a little bit. So the words are open-minded. Does anyone here consider themselves closed-minded? Nah, I didn't think so. So most people consider themselves open-minded. And by implying that our choice, what we do, is for the open-minded, then you're simultaneously implying that the opposite would be for the closed-minded. So only open-minded people join IM. Only open-minded people are entrepreneurs, are traders, are builders, are opportunists, investors, whatever it may be. Closed-minded people are exactly that. They're closed off to the opportunity, and nobody wants to sound, at least nobody wants to admit it, right? Because people can be skeptical, but they still wouldn't want to admit that they're closed-minded. So it seems like you're going to give people an option, but you're making it blatantly obvious. I don't know if you're open-minded to the idea of making money in different streams. I don't know if you're open-minded to the idea of opening up your own business, becoming a business owner, an investor, anything like that. Or simply stated, how open-minded are you about doing things different and getting different results? I'm pretty open-minded to that. Awesome. Then this is exactly for you. Would you be open-minded to seeing if we can work together? Yeah, I'd be open-minded to that. Cool. Then let's do it. Let's hop on an interview call. How open-minded are you about increasing your monthly income? Do you think anyone would say no to that? Nah. So you want to give them a question, but give them a question that has a very obvious answer to it. Are you open-minded to giving this a chance and going all in? You're kind of implying that not going all in is for closed-minded people, right? So who wants to go all in? Everybody. All right, going up on number 3, I'm going to pass it back to Armando, somebody that obviously I've been working with for the past 2.5+ years now. Basically my right-hand man. Again, if I were to close a deal and be like, yo, I want this $1 million home, I'd call Armando instantaneously, immediately. And I know that he would run that ish up. So thank you, Armando, for basically being my ride or die for the last 2.5 years. Super, super excited to see where we're going. Chicago is bullish. Cali is bullish. Everywhere that we have business together, bullish. So I appreciate you.
The places that we haven't even tapped into are bullish too. And we're not even there yet. So let's get it. Guys, so, okay, next set of words, number 3, right? This is a question, right? My favorite thing, and I consider myself very, very good at asking questions, right, is what do you know, right? What do you know? Because when you're having a conversation with somebody, a lot of things that happen is a lot of people try to puke uphill, right? And let me explain to you what that means. It means that you attempt to tell people everything that you do the first time that you meet them. And it's quite literally impossible to do that because people's attention span, that's why YouTube videos are 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, because people can't go past, that amount of time. Now imagine them meeting you for the first time, or being them somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, right? You puking uphill, what is it going to do? Come right back at you, right? Just imagine the concept of like, going up a hill and puking up, like she's going to come right back, smack you in the face. It's going to be disgusting. So what you want to do, right, is get people interested by asking them questions. And the third set of questions is, what do you know? And then you can insert at the end, you can insert anything. What do you know about drop shipping? What do you know about e-commerce? What do you know about the financial markets? What do you know about cryptocurrencies? What do you know about network marketing? What do you know about residual income? What do you know about the cash flow quadrant? What do you know about Mike Navarrete? What do you know about I Am Mastery Academy? What do you know about online education? What do you know about multiple sources of income? Literally anything, right, that will catch people's interest and them having to be like, almost literally nothing. Teach me. Because now people are going to be like, dang, this guy knows more. And one of the things that I saw Mike do, I think it was like the second time I ever met him, right? He talked to some girl at the coffee shop, right? And he gave her a book. I'll never forget this. He gave her a book to read. He told me, he's like, see, that's how I know we'll connect in the future, because I just gave her value for free, right? And that right there will keep people coming back. When you ask somebody, for example, what do you know about cryptocurrencies? And they say, well, I just know that Bitcoin is like, the next gold. And you're like, dude, literally, that's exactly how I was until I started getting connected to a community of people that have an absolute insane passion for cryptocurrencies. And I know 10 times more than I did 6 months ago, right? Leading into other questions that and then you lead into the way that you're going to introduce them to this, which I'm going to get to that in a second. But asking, what do you know? They're either going to give you one of two things. They're going to say nothing, or they'll give you what they know about that subject, and you can add on to it. Because let me ask you guys a question. Excuse me, if you know something about something, wouldn't you want to know more, right? Wouldn't you want to, if you know something about, I don't know, like horse riding, right? And then you found out that there was a new, breed of horses. Wouldn't you want to know a little bit more about that if you consider yourself like a horse rider or passionate about horses or dogs, right? And then somebody comes up to you about this new dog thing. You're like, well, tell me, right? You get people hooked. And that's what questions are. That's a very intriguing, like, hook question. What do you know about this? It's like, what do you know about investing? Right? So that is a very particular word. And again, you have to use the word. Dang, Zachary's on here. Let's go, Zach. Got to step my game up. Dang, right? You got to understand, like, it gets people to be interested more and pick your brain a little bit deeper. So I'm going to pass it off to Nancy now for the next set of words.
Beautiful. All right, we got educators in the house. All right, the next set of words is going to be, I'm actually going to do two at a time because I think they go really well hand in hand. All right, first is, how would you feel if? All right, fun fact. The word motivation is rooted from the Latin words that mean reason and to do. So you have a reason to do something. You have a reason to take action, right? So using these set of words, how would you feel if, allows you to open up the imagination portal. And if it's big enough, then you can do anything, right? You can expand your imagination as well as it gets. So in order to understand what a big enough reason for someone to do something they might be hesitant about, you have to understand what their motives are, right? What is their reason to do something? So people are typically moved by one of two things: avoiding loss, which is pain, or B, acquiring potential gain. This is where we come in. One, we don't want to be, or we want to set people up so that they don't lose, right? So that they don't lose out on either opportunity or, things that have to do with financial stuff. And then B, we want people to see the potential gain. There's so much potential gain here. The risk to reward in trading is crazy. You put down 235 to get an entire different lifestyle. That's an infinity to one. It's crazy. All right. So we also want to make sure that we set things up so that the former reason works better. So set things up to make things really obvious. How would you feel if you didn't have to wait until your biweekly paycheck? How would you feel if you could take your parents on that vacation that they've been thinking about? How would you feel if your significant other didn't have to go to work because they were just trying to make ends meet? How would you feel if at the end of the month you still had money left over to do whatever it is that you wanted to? How would you feel if next holiday season you were able to spoil all your family with whatever it is that they want and not, what's the word? Penny pinch. So how would you feel if is the first set of words, and then I'm going to tag team that with just imagine. Because if you can't see yourself doing something, the chances are of you doing it are slim to none, right? This is where that painting the vision comes in. So paint the vision, tell stories, have people actually imagine, use their imagination to see themselves doing it. Because once they can see themselves doing it, they could do it. They could sign up. You're like, yeah, I could be a full-time entrepreneur. Cool. So using those two words, just imagine. Guys, this is so funny. Just imagine you being able to wake up whenever you want, pay the bills without having to worry about them, buy the car that you want to buy, retire your mom if that's something that you want to do. Just imagine waking up a full-time entrepreneur a short time from now, using those magic words. People are moved and motivated by feeling, right? So when you put that visual in their head, now they connected a feeling to it. Feeling is the secret. So using those set of words, just imagine, and how would you feel if? I'm going to pass it back to you, Mando.
Sweet, thank you. So to add on to that, just want to, piggyback off that one. A lot of people make decisions based off emotions. So when you make people feel some type of way by getting them to create an image in their head, they're more likely to decide. And then you have an emotional like insurance because you made them feel some type of way. If they ever are like, you know what, I don't know if this is the right thing. I don't know if this is for me. This is too hard. Damn, it's a lot of videos that I gotta watch, It's like, but you told me that you could see yourself doing this. You guys ever hear, okay, so I'm gonna give another personal story, it's a great way, and this is not a sexy set of words, right? But great way to get people to understand and comprehend things. And I remember Tim told me this after I did an app call. I was like, dude, how did I do? He's like, you did amazing. Now figure out how to do that in a story, like by telling a story. So telling a story is a great way to kind of get people to understand something different. I was at the mall with my girlfriend the other day, and we walked into the Michael Kors store, and I was like, can you see yourself coming into the store and buying anything that you want in here, whatever it is that you want, without having to check the price or your bank account? And then she's like, I don't see myself. And then I was like, stop, I don't care about anything else, right? I can't imagine. She's like, I can't imagine. Right? I was like, stop, you got like right there. Because if you can't imagine it, then you can't happen. You're not emotionally attached to it. So those words that Nancy just said, right? Imagine what it would be like to just go to Miami for 36 hours and hang out with 400 top influencers in the company. People are like, damn. Okay. So next set of words, right? Actually, this is not went to the Rolex store. Dang, fancy. This is not a set of words. This is more of a strategy. Okay, but it's called simple swaps. Simple swaps. It's more for questions than anything. Okay, so how many of you guys have at the end of an op call or at the end of a presentation, they're like, okay, so what do you guys have any questions? Right? People are not going to raise their hand. Or some people will, because they're, naturally outgoing and naturally just, curious. But most people, they're not. even if they have a bearing, dying question that they're burning from the inside that they want to ask, they're too embarrassed to be like, I have a question, because people think they're going to be judged based on the question. So instead of doing that, simple swap of words, right? Instead of asking, do you guys have any questions? Ask, what questions do you guys have? Right? Same question, simple swap, right? Instead of saying, do you guys have any questions? What questions do you guys have? Right? It's a great way to make people understand that, like, to make people feel more comfortable, I should say, with asking the question. Another one would be like, let's see if I think of another simple swap. It's that's the key one. Nancy, you said something. I don't know if you wanted to. I don't know. She said, I thought she added on to it, but she was muted.
Oh, I would add to that. You read my mind. I didn't say anything, but you read my mind. One of my biggest pet peeves when closing a presentation or even an op call, whatever form, is asking people repeatedly, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? If you have any questions, and it's especially if there's multiple speakers and everyone's asking if there's any questions, I think what questions do you have makes it so much easier for those that do have some kind of concern, doubt, whatever, to come up and ask those. And then it's a good segue to go into the close, which gives you obvious answers. That's all I want to add.
Awesome. So you guys get this, again, it's a strategy, right? There's not that many sexy phrases because a lot of it is based on situations. But keep that, this is why it's a tool belt of things, because now you have a strategy. Instead of asking something that you may ask directly, the chances are you're not going to get necessarily an answer that you're looking for. Then you can simple swap the words to give more of a command for the other person to give you an answer to a question. Now, following up to the close, right? Nancy did too, so I'll go ahead and jump into doing two as well. So back to back on this one, right? Let's say nobody answers, right? Nobody's got any questions. Awesome. Okay, perfect, guys. So now this is next set of words, right? You have three options, right? You have three options. Okay, people love to buy things. People are consumers till the day they die, but they do not like to be sold. Okay. You guys ever went to the mall and at the kiosk, they're like trying to sell you 3 for 20, 3 for 20. Okay. 3 for 15, 3 for 15. I'll give you, okay, 3 for 10. Right. Because they're like pushing it on you. Right. And they're just like, dude, I already told you no. Like, I remember going to the store and they try to, clean one of my sneakers and then they leave the other one. And it's like, damn, now I got to give you a tip so you can clean the other one. They don't like to be sold. So you give them options because people love to buy. They love to shop. Now, you can say you have three options, and I'll talk about that in a second. But what I like to do is there are three types of people. I learned this from Tim, right? This is how he closed the very first presentation I ever heard. And I heard multiple other people, I'm assuming he learned it from somebody, right? How you close three different types of people. There's three different types of people. Now, some people are like, there's an A, there's a B, and there's a C type person. I don't say that. I just say there's a first type of person that's gonna be direct with me, be honest with me, and say, you know what, this is great, this is amazing, the best thing I've ever seen since sliced bread, but it's just not for me, right? Those are honest people, right? If that's not them, their ears are still open. If that is them, their ears are kind of closed because they don't care about any of their other options. And there's a second type of person, right? And in sales, these are going to be the most amount of people are going to be in this bucket, right? These are the people that, and Tim calls them the butts, right? The I could have done this, but I could have gone to college, but I could have gone to pro in the NBA, but or I could have had that girl, but I could have had that boy, but right. I could do this, right? But I need to do my research. I can do this, but I don't have the money. I can do this, but I gotta talk to, my dog, or I gotta consult with my dog about it, right? Whatever, right? And those type of people are always a pain in the butt. And it's like slightly offensive, right? It's like, damn, I don't want to be that person. Damn, I don't want to be the person that says, I gotta go talk to somebody about it, right? And then there's a third type of person, which is a person like myself, right? Which is another set of words, right? If you're anything like me, right? You'll make a decision right now and you'll go ahead and move forward, right? And then that gives people options. Which one's the sexiest option? The people are like, damn, the last one. right? People that make decisions very fast. One thing that I've recently started doing is adding a lot of people, the most successful people I know make decisions very quickly. Napoleon Hill says this actually. The most successful people in the world make decisions very quickly and fix them very slowly if and when they need to be fixed, right? And then you add that, and that makes people want to be like, I'm a successful I want to be a successful person, because I just imagine myself being a successful person, right? I want to be a successful person, so I'm going to choose option number 3. Let's do it. Okay, and they have 3 different options. Now, 3 different options are going to be like, you can stay in the same situation, right? You can do nothing about it and stay in the same situation. You can think about it, or you can go ahead and do it right now. Which one of those would you rather do? That one's a little bit of a harder close. So you got to have a little bit of a deeper, kind of more how Tim closed Nestor relationship. If you guys were there, if you don't, you don't know. I won't tell you the story as Tim, right? But if you were there, you know the story of how Tim closed Nestor, right? That's the type of relationship you can use that one with. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna pass it off to Nancy now for the next set of words.
Dope. That was so funny. All right. The next set of words, honestly, one of my favorites, and you might catch me saying it. So they are, I bet you're a bit like me. These set of words are even more powerful with strangers than they are with people that you already know, because people already know you. This is gathering evidence that supports the objectives and makes it hard to disagree with you. This is also giving you brownie points. I bet you're a bit like me, meaning it's making you relatable. It's making you personable. It's making you likable. And then you can use this to avoid objections later on. So something that Mike taught me is that you want to cross off objections before they even object. Like before you even give them a chance to say, well, I don't have time or I don't have money. No, knock those out during your storytelling, during your talking about your process and your journey and stuff like that. Like knock those out of the park. That way they can't hit you with that, because you're like, no, I was there too. So you could use that to avoid objections as well. Here are some examples. I bet you're a bit like me, a busy person juggling to get everything done, right? We're objecting time. Or I bet you're a bit like me, ambitious, driven, sometimes spontaneous. I like to figure things out. That way you're kind of objecting the decision-making, like Armando was talking about. Decision-making is a skill set. That is fact. Here's another one. I bet you're a bit like me, someone that likes to take matters into their own hands, get things done, and not rely on anyone else to make your income. That one hits home because this is what we do. When we're trading, we're in control of everything except for price, right? We're in control of whether we get in or not, where we get in, how we protect ourselves, how much we risk, and where we get out with a potential gain. We're in control of everything. So saying that, like, I bet you're a bit like me. I'm someone that likes to be in control instead of having other people tell me what to do. Yeah, cool. Then let's run the shit up together. It's super simple, but those words are so powerful. Again, it makes you become an ally to the person, because now we're the same, is pretty much what you're saying. Now we're friends, whether you know it or not. We're friends, and we could do this, and we can run this up together, and we could be accountability partners in this. So I'll give it back to Armando for the next ones, and then I'm going to drop the link to this book again in the chat.
Guys, this book is literally 90 minutes. Like, you can read it, you can listen. Don't buy it on Amazon, listen to it on Audible, or figure out a way to listen to it. It's not that like reading it doesn't help. It's just like listening to this guy's Irish voice. It just like clicks into your head, and like it just registers deeply into your brain, mainly because he's got an Irish accent, and it's like your next set of words. It's funny. It's super funny, but it engraves deeper into your brain when you listen to it versus when I've never read it. I've only listened to it, but it's only 90 minutes. Okay. So the next set of words, before I talk about it, I want to talk about why, and if you guys saw the sales call, right, for the 25 people that were on the first 5 minutes of the call, I played a Grant Cardone closing call. It's only 4 minutes. And he asked questions in the beginning. Asking questions gathers information so that you can solve a problem for the person, right? And sometimes, most of the time, I should say, people don't know that they have the problem until you ask the question, right? People don't know that there's other quadrants in the cash flow quadrant. People think that there's only one, right? People don't know that you can also make money on selling, right? People don't know half the things that you guys know, that you guys learned after joining IM Mastery Academy or QC, right, or Trade House. Like, you guys probably didn't know. There's a high probability that you didn't know that information. And by asking a question to somebody, it leads you to then solve a problem, create a problem, and then solve it. That leads into closing, right? And so if then statements are the most powerful thing in the world. Literally, we learned about it in like elementary school, sometime during formal education, right? Probably, I think during middle school, we learned about like mathematical if then statements. Might have been a little bit further, not sure, right? But if you use if then statements, right, what you completely address the objection before it happens, and you start using the information that you gathered with the answers to the questions that you asked in the beginning, and using them to solve the problem that they didn't know they had, right? So if I was able to, so for example, right, I'll give you guys an example of time, right? Time. This sounds great. I don't know if I have time. Awesome. So you told me in the beginning of the call that your passion was you wanted to spend, a little bit more time with your kids. Like, you wanted to just have more freedom to travel with them and take them to wherever it is that they wanted to go, right? If this can be the thing that kind of gives you the solution financially to do it, and I can help you manage your time a little bit better, then would that make your life a little bit easier, right? Would that help you get started, right? You use the collective information that you gather from the question in the beginning, and then you've created this problem by saying, if, right, I can help you solve the issue that you told me that you had, then would that help you move forward with the decision? People are like, yes. Okay, awesome. Let's sign up. I learned this in Building an Empire. It takes 4 minutes. Let's do it. Let's run it right now. Right, here's the link on the launch call, or on the app call. You're doing the launch, right? So if then statements are huge. It literally solves almost any issue, argument, objection. Like, but here's a trick to it, right? You can't just use it. Like, you can't just throw it out there. You have to gather information by asking questions in the beginning. So you have to ask, that's why in the beginning of the call, if you guys have ever seen me do an app call, I ask, like, so what are your passions? What do you like to do? Well, tell me about yourself. Like, I don't just want to tell you about this amazing project that I'm working on and not know what the hell it is that you would want to do this. Why would be the reason that you even want to do this? Some people just jump onto the app call and they're like, boom, this is the product, this is the service, you're gonna have trade, you're gonna get rich. But they're like, awesome. But because they don't have a problem. The solution, it's a solution call, but it didn't solve any problems. Right. So that's why it's so important to create a problem and then use an if-then statement to close them. Right. If we can figure out a way to budget your money over the next 15 days, then can we get started before the month ends? Yeah. All right, cool. Right. So just like Grant said, if I can help you generate X amount more money, right, would you lock arms with us? Yeah, of course. Awesome. I'll have my assistant give you a call. Right. They literally sell you yes. They tell you yes, and then you can move forward with the close because you created a problem with the information that you gathered. If then statements gathered to the next one. So back to you, Nance.
Okay, this one is short but mighty. 3 words: the good news. The good news means that you're automatically giving good news. It means that you're taking away from negative energy. I love to use this. I actually love to put it into practice, like to test myself that I can turn the energy around in the room, right? Like, I think it was Ed Milet that said it, that you are not a thermometer, you are the thermostat. So you're making sure that the energy changes around you and that you're not changing because of the energy in the room. So you get to shift the energy. You are the energy shifter. You are the paradigm shifter, all the above. All right, so turn around the negative energy. This is a technique called labeling, because you're doing exactly that. You're just labeling whatever you're about to say as positive, as good. Super simple, right? So the recipient accepts whatever you're saying after this as good news because you just labeled it as good news. Subconsciously, they're just accepting it because you said so. So super simple, but very powerful, because even if somebody tells you like,
oh, I've had such a bad day. Like all my bills came in. I have very little money. My car broke down. My child's acting out, something, something. Then you just say, well, the good news is like your food's on the way. Like anything that you could find positive, just throw it in there. Even if your car broke down, you could be like, well, the good news is that you got insurance. Well, the good news is that you don't have to pay for gas this week. Just find any excuse to bring out the positive, because then you do exactly that. I saw a few of you crack a smile, and when you crack that smile, people lighten up. And that's the key, because we don't want any tension to linger around unnecessarily. We want to alleviate and elevate. So this is your secret little thing in your arsenal. The good news is, because there actually is always good news. And then the next set of words is going to be another 3 set of words, super powerful. Who here wants to learn how to close? I feel like that's maybe the part of the presentation that people fear the most, or that are a little bit more hesitant, like they need a top dog to do it, but it could be as simple as 3 words. Michelle's in. Yes, beautiful. The close is super simple. What happens next? I'm sure you've caught Mondo saying it, Mike saying it, me saying it. What happens next is Armando's going to send you a link. You're going to fill out the application. It'll take you 4 minutes. And then we're going to run what we call the launch to make sure that you're perfectly set up for everything that you're going to need from here on out. Does that sound good? Beautiful. It's that simple. What happens next? Because we are programmed. Remember where we come from, guys. Since about 4 years old, we've been told what to do. So they've been programming us to take instructions. This is us just doing exactly that. When you're coming into entrepreneurship, you need to remember that people are coming from being an employee, being in the system, being told what to do, how to do it, when to do it. They take trainings, they do go through orientation, etc. The whole thing, right? So we need to remember that. If we give people all the freedom and just say, hey, good luck, then they're going to be totally lost, and within reason. So that's why we literally say, what happens next is. We're telling them as clear as day what the next step is. Then they don't feel that overwhelmment of, I don't know what I'm doing. So super simple. It's good for the close. And it's good because people will take initiative. That way you don't have to linger around with like, so do you have any questions? Any doubt, concerns? No, you just literally say it right there and then. What's your favorite part of the presentation? Perfect. So what happens next is, I'm going to send you this link, or I already sent it to you via iMessage. Check it out, fill out the application, takes 4 minutes, blah, 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 blah. Simple, smooth transition, smooth segue, no awkwardness, no time for them to be hesitant, no time for them to be like, oh shoot, I just remembered like I have to buy my dog the 50-pound bag of food next year, like none of that. So smooth transition, making everything super simple. Again, you're giving people instructions and they feel good that you're giving them instructions because it's crystal clear. All right, Mondo, you're up next.
All right, cool. So next one, right? This is in my first sales training job. They called it the Jones effect, right? Keeping up with the Joneses. I wasn't born here, and so I had no idea what the hell that meant. And so they explained it to me, and they said, well, everybody in the neighborhood wants to be like the Joneses, meaning the Joneses do something, right? The Joneses put up their Christmas lights first, then the next door neighbor are going to put up their Christmas lights, and then the next door neighbor are going to put up their Christmas lights, and then the whole neighborhood's going to have Christmas lights on, right? Because everybody wants to keep up with the Joneses. And so the sexy phrase is most people. Right now, this can be used in a positive and a negative connotation. Let's start with the negative, right? You can put people in the most people bucket of negativity. Most people trade their time for hours. You'll be like, damn, I think I'm one of those people, right? Most people, I say this a lot. I say this, if you heard me do an out call, Ryan probably knows he's heard me do like 12 out calls in the last like 36 hours, right? But I say, after high school, I did what most people do, and that's follow in the footsteps of my parents, right? Like, you have to understand that it gets people kind of what the sexy phrase that Nancy talked about, She said, if you're anything like me, right, it relates to you when you say most people, right? I did what most people do. Most people trade their time for money. Most people are just slaving, right? You're putting them into a category and they're like, okay, I'm in that category. But then you can also do it for the next one, right? Most people, what they do after they see this information is they just jump straight on it. Now you're like, damn, okay, I'm most people. Let me go do that one, right? Most people, because it puts them into a sexy, in a negative thing or in a positive thing, right? Most people get the elite package because they have various options. You know, some people only do the FRX. Now, what are you going to do, right? If money's not a problem, what are you going to do? You're going to do what most people do, what some people do. You're going to do what most people do, right? So when you're pitching the end, right? So we have an ECX package. You realize, which one should I choose? Well, most people do ECX, right? Some people do just FRX or ECX, whichever one you're describing at the time, or both, right? That's why I said, well, most people do this because most people, right, want to get ahead. They want to have back fully access to everything. You can use it to negative, right? Most people are kind of just working a dead-end job most of the time. And this categorizes people because it gets people to want to do something, right? But it has to be relatable. You can't just say something that's out of the ordinary. You know, most people are flying in private jets. People don't, that's not true. You know, most people aren't flying in private jets. Most people are flying Spirit. And so like, you got to be able to adjust your words. You can't like use them overconfidently. You have to make it seem like it's something that most people actually do, right? And it's good because it kind of guides people through, you know, the process of going to the next step, right? Choosing a product. Most people just select the elite package plus, you know, whatever other thing you want to add on there. So I'll throw it back to Nance. I believe you have one more.
Okay, so remember when Mando was telling you about the audio version about this? This is exactly what I hear when I say this. I hear his Irish accent, and I'm just like, just out of curiosity, and it's the most lit thing ever in my head. All right, so this can be used for the objections that don't make any sense to us. Because remember, common sense is not that common, but some people will rationalize whatever BS reason not to do this, right? So in order to target that BS reason without being aggressive or, I don't know, too rude, you can ask very politely, okay, so just curiosity, what makes you say that? Just out of curiosity, what makes you think this is a pyramid scheme? Just out of curiosity, who told you what a pyramid scheme was? Just out of curiosity, where did you learn your relationship with money? Just out of curiosity, when was the last time that you spent $200 and is that making you money now? Because most people have probably spent that on the PS5, some shoes, makeup is not cheap, I've learned. So just out of curiosity allows you to ask those questions that might otherwise sound a little bit like you're stepping over some kind of boundary, but in reality, you're just curious, right? Nobody really blames you for being curious. So just out of curiosity, if money weren't an issue, would you do this? Cool. Then let's make money not be an issue. Just out of curiosity, do you think you have an additional hour, 1 hour of your day? I can make it happen. Perfect. So we're just segueing people to be on the right side of these answers. We know what the right answer is because it's worked for us and it's worked for others. And maybe they just haven't seen that perspective yet because they haven't experienced it. So this is, again, one of my favorite set of words, and you probably caught me saying it. Just out of curiosity, what's stopping you from living your best life? Go ahead, Mando.
That's a simple swap strategy too, because what most people use, it's funny, now we're talking about it, I hear myself saying, right? What most people say is, if you don't mind me asking. Mm-hmm. That's what most people say, right? And that works, but like if you ask that, it's like when you say, okay, can I be honest with you? Well, like, no, duh. Like, why would I want you to be anything but honest? When people are like, okay, honestly, like when you say, okay, honestly, and then say anything afterwards, does that mean that whenever you don't say honestly, you're lying to me, right? When I was in sales, a customer told me that. They were like, don't ever say that, you know, sir, I'm going to be honest with you, because whenever you say that, it implies everything else that you said to me was not honest. So, just quick tip on there, right? eliminate that stuff, because there's very smart people out there that will catch you on words. Guys, language is how we communicate. Language, words are very powerful, right? This stuff is like what makes people hundreds of millions of dollars if they learn how to incorporate it into their verbiage, right? And so if you are not careful with your words, you can seriously offend somebody by saying honestly, right? Because they're listening to you. You might just, be talking, but if you're not aware, it's like when we were doing the whole do 10 push-ups, if you say the word try, you have to become aware of what it is that you're saying before it comes out of your mouth. And that's a skill, right? Just like Nancy was talking about decision making, it's a skill. So I had it swapped. I was going to do that same one as well. I want to just kind of take it back to how you can. So the last sexy set of words, I guess, is more of just like the 3 key things that make somebody amazing at this skill, right? That's number 1 is like being enthusiastic. Your tone of voice has to be different. You have to listen to how you sound. It's very important that you hear how you say the things that you say, because, for example, I will go back to the example of when I was training Nick, right? I was like, when you say these words, your emphasis on your words has to go up and then it has to come down, right? You have to go from enthusiastic to indifferent, from enthusiastic to indifferent, enthusiastic to indifferent, right? But you start off with enthusiastic because people are attracted to that. They're like, holy shit, this guy's got a lot of energy. Damn, what does he do? I'm over here tired. I need a coffee and it's, 6 p.m. and this guy's got all the energy in the world. Why do you think you can't tune Alex Morton out? Because he's on a high enthusiastic level of speaking all the time. Literally, I can't pay attention to anything except for Alex Morton when I'm watching him, because he's got me so hooked, right? Same thing if you watch Grant, or if you watch Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street, right? They talk like this, they speak like this because they're enthusiastic and they're able to then bring it down to relate to the person. You see, I just did it right there. I don't know if you noticed it, right? But that's enthusiastic as hell, right? Sharp as a tack. You have to get people to understand that you're good at what you do, right? You're a sharp person. Look at John Rico right now. And this guy walks into anywhere, people will open the door for him and call him sir because he's wearing a suit jacket, right? I walk into how I'm dressed, they won't care, right? But we're the same person, right? But it's just the posture, right? He's sharp. He looks sharp. So when you're speaking, right, doubt words and just like pauses and not being prepared with the tabs that you're going to open, or not being able to do it very fast is it takes away from you being sharp. It looks like you're unprepared, right? When you got ads popping up all over because you don't pay for TradingView, right? It doesn't seem like you're. Some people don't know that, but some people that know that, like, yo, if you don't pay for something, you're gonna get ads, right? It's like all that stuff. It demotes your level of credibility. When someone's like, damn, this guy, he has his shit together, they're more likely to trust you with a decision that will change their life, because they're like, he's got his shit together, right? He knows what he's doing. He has it going on for himself, right? And you have to be an expert in your field, right? And you have 4 seconds. This is a straight line persuasion. Talk about, you have 4 seconds to get all those 3 things across. The first 4 seconds of a call after somebody edifies you is how long you have. Now, you already have a pretty good head start about being sharp, because if the person that edified you did a really good job at edifying you, now the other person's like, damn, what was the third one? As sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, an expert in your field, right? If the person before you that edified you did a really good job edifying you, now you feel good. Now you're like, okay, I'm ready. Like you come off like you just had your favorite fight song and you're like about to rock and roll this op call, right? And you feel good. But when the person, is just getting started with edification and they really didn't say much about you, you have 4 seconds to make sure that person on the other side of the call is like, boom. Right? Like when you just get a haircut. Exactly, because you feel like you're shining, like your scalp is shining. So I'm wearing a hat because I don't have a haircut. I'm getting it tomorrow, getting ready for Miami. But you get what I'm saying? Like you have to be able to do those things in the first 4 seconds of your conversation, right? And then last nugget I'm gonna throw in here, we've been going on for about an hour, is closing. What makes somebody really good at closing is the belief that the product or the service works. That's it. That is it. I don't care what you say or how you say it, right? There's a joke that like 6 or 7 people that may or be on this call, right? Cesar Hernandez did it in Puerto Rico. He goes, "You're gonna sign up or what?" Like, it's such a like straight question in like a very monotone voice, but it's like a joke because it's like he genuinely believes that this works, and so he literally, that's how he closes people. I've heard him do it, like on op call. I'll be like, "Yeah, so pass it back to Cesar," and Cesar will be like, "Yeah, so you're gonna sign up or what?" Like, it's because he knows that he's certain that the product works. So you want to get better at closing, get better at trading, right? Get better at talking, get better at speaking to Mike and Nance and communicating with your leader so that your belief system in this business grows and that you're not afraid to tell people, join my business, join my team, because I know for a fact that I can get you to where you want to go. And if I can't, I know people that can. And that's what makes somebody really good at closing. It's not because people don't have money or they do a bunch of op calls. It's because their tonality in their voice is not certain. So the other person doesn't feel good, right? They feel like this person, has got a lot of doubt, right? Feels like they're just trying to sell me on something. And so when you're sharp and your belief system is all time high, why do you think we grow as a company, as a business, as a team after events? Because people belief system are crazy high. Nobody got any better at closing, right? Maybe they got a nugget or two on how to close better, but most people do it and get better, right? But after events, and their business grows after events because their belief system is at all-time highs. And so every event after event after event after event, you're like, damn, this shit works. Let me go tell a bunch of people about it, right? And then you attract people. You're certain. You're like, man, I'm so excited. This company's going to $1 billion. I'm hitting chairman 100, no doubt. Like, let's run. People are like, yeah, dude, let's go. But when you're like, yeah, and so do you have any questions? Okay, awesome. Yeah. So when you're ready to get started, just let me know. And what I'll do is I'll send you a link, and we'll hop on a call with one of my mentors, and from there we'll get you through all the chats and plug you into everything, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, awesome. That's that doesn't sound confident. That sounds like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. I'll let you know next 3 years from now. But you're like, yo, dude. So are you ready to get started? Yeah, I just need a couple of weeks to get the money. Awesome, dude. By when can you get started? So that way we can hop on a call like this, right? Give them an exact date. Awesome. You want to do morning or afternoon? Perfect. I'll lock it in my calendar right now, dude. It was a pleasure speaking to you. I got to go. I got another call. Even if you don't have another call, right? Make yourself busy, sharp as a tack, right? Enthusiastic as hell. I got to go because I got another call. It was a pleasure speaking to you, man. Peace. Done. See, the difference is enthusiasm. It's certainty, right? And it's huge. Guys, the only way you get better at doing this is by listening, right? So 3 guys that really changed my speaking was Grant Cardone, number 1, without a doubt, right? Grant Cardone, Victor Antonio, right? Victor Antonio and Jordan Belfort. They're all sales guys, right? But life is sales. To get a boyfriend or girlfriend, you got to sell. To get $1 million real estate deal, you got to sell. You got to negotiate with the buyer or the seller. To get mentorship from Alex Morton, you got to sell yourself, right? You have to get really good at speaking strategically, right? Now, tonality and all that stuff, it comes from, Nancy just dropped a bunch of people. Alex Morton is one of my favorite people to listen to. Same with Matt Rosa, right? Just the enthusiasm in their voice of how they do it, right? So you have to get better. When you want to get better at something, you got to do it, right? You can't speak all the time, but you can listen to the tonality of how people speak. And so, Nancy, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I love that you went back to those 3 things. Super, super key. If you guys would like to see a few more trainings similar to this that makes things super easy for you to just plug in and go, then let us know so that we can do that. I do have another one in mind that I'll probably run up early next week, right after Miami convention or Miami leadership seminar. That way we could apply as soon as possible. So I dropped the Instagrams of the people that I study, and I say that like study because they do this very well. and they have the results to show for it. Some of them being, yes, Matt Rosa, he does amazing with tonality. He will bring the energy of the room up, raise his voice, start running around like a madman, and then bring it down so that you could really feel the passion that he's talking with. So that's something that I've noticed, and I'm just like, okay, I see you, Matt. And he gets that also. Because I've asked him, he studies Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek is the author of Leaders Eat Last, Start With Why, other books on leadership. He's amazing. He does really well for himself too in the leadership industry, and a few others, including Alex Martin, Grant Cardone for posture. Guys, study the people that have the results that you want. If you want more trainings like that, then definitely we will run those up. And then the last little hack is something that I got actually from Daniel G. When people give you an objection, ask them, like, that's it. That's all you got. And also don't use fillers. So he used that in a training that he did for us privately, thanks to Kevin. And I thought it was awesome because no matter the objection, he's just like, oh, that's it? Money's the only issue? Cool. Then let's work on that. And again, FAM book a meeting, or BAM FAM, book a meeting from a meeting, right? So just isolate the objection and then target it. How are we going to fix it? We are professional problem solvers. If they give you an objection, fine. Whether it be more time, cool. Let's figure out how many hours a week you're wasting on your phone. Whether it be more money, let's see how many times you're buying Starbucks unnecessarily. Whether it be whatever it may be. That way we can isolate it, we could solve it, and then there you go. Problem disappears just like that. And then they see the credibility, the certainty that we have, the belief that we have in problem solving. Guys, the reason why we say this is because we believe it. You will quit on us before we quit on you, because we just know that this works. The question is, people haven't been trained to work efficiently. They've just been trained to take orders. And we're not here to do that. We're here to show you how to think critically, how to apply, how to move, how to pivot, how to adapt, how to make things happen. So that's exactly what we're here to do, guys. Thank you so much for spending the last hour and a minute with us. We really do appreciate it. We hope that you guys got some value. We hope that you guys are going to apply immediately after this call. I do have somewhere to go. I'm a minute late, but I appreciate you guys for just having the safe space with us and listening, and keep killing it. That's all I really gotta say. The recording will be up in a few short minutes, and we will have it on YouTube as well, so that you can go ahead, study it, and then also get the book on either audio, or I think Kevin dropped the YouTube. So shout out to him. Later, guys.